hemp and cannabis, or marijuana, is one molecule. That one molecule has been designated by our federal government as to be illegal, and that molecule is THC. So the THC molecule is the one defining factor between hemp and cannabis. It's the only separation. Of course, you have many varieties in marijuana. You have many varieties, or strains, as we like to say in the industry, of hemp. So it's really, to answer your question, it's one molecule. That's the craziness of this whole thing. So me being regulated by MDAR and me being regulated by the MRA, even in this situation, MDAR doesn't speak to the MRA from what I can tell, and the MRA doesn't speak to MDAR, because we're talking about one molecule of separation, which is the craziness of everything that we're talking about.
And again, today in the resolution, we are addressing industrial.
Right.
That is the topic. That is the resolution. Because if any individual wanted to do that smoky little thing you did there with industrial hemp, there would be no getting high.
It's non-intoxicating.
Because it is non-intoxicating, because of the, exactly, and that's why we're here having this conversation. Representative Eisen, thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just curious, we're using it for feed, and I can see you can have seeds and all that. Have you ever done a nutritional value on it? Is there any A, B, C, amino acids, proteins, any of that kind of stuff in it that maybe you could fill us in a little bit about? Thank you.
So the other speakers could weigh in as well, but from my brief research, there are, in addition to medicinal as well as nutritional benefits that are derived from the industrial hemp. So there is nutritious value.
That's listed somewhere where we
Yes,
can
it
actually
is.
see that it has
Yes.
a certain percent of A, B, you know, does it have?
Our office can send that to you, but just know that what we're calling for is the federal level of the USDA to help properly categorize it so that we can, as the former speakers lifted up, properly identify the value and the exact composition of the ingredients that are in each serving, if you will.
So it hasn't been done yet?
It will, in some aspects it has, but we're calling on the USDA to properly categorize so that we can adequately identify composition at the federal level. So there's some cities and states that are moving a little bit more progressively in doing this and have done the research, but the USDA, which helps to identify the safe levels for everything that we consume, is what we're calling for in this resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Mehrman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With your permission, could I comment a little bit and then ask you questions? So this product, industrial hemp, has been something that I've been excited about since I've seen it happening, and I think it's one of the really neat new crops that could be grown here in Michigan. And I guess at the end of it all, I would like people to say Michigan's got it figured out. If you want to grow hemp, you go to Michigan. Things are straightforward, they're simple. These are the hoops you have to jump through, but they're not too big, they're not too hard, and it's straightforward. We are the second most diverse state in the nation for growing things. As someone mentioned already, the climate here is unique, and I'm just excited about all across the board. So, questions. So we're waiting for USDA to propagate the rules. They could have, since the beginning of this year, from what I'm hearing is early winter, possibly. I think, Representative, that you are encouraging them to do it.
Yes.
We want to grow it next year. Do we have a timeline on that? How?
Mr. Bates, do you have that? Anything you'd like to offer?
So it's my understanding that the present rules can be also then extended into the next growing season, and from my understanding of the Farm Bill, that the rules that USDA will craft will be somewhat similar to the rules that we have already in place, but that the Department of Agriculture does have to create a plan that has to be approved once USDA creates their rulemaking decisions, and then the USDA has 60 days to comment. And then once that is, and then the MDARD would then have to respond to those, any edits or changes. Quite simply, and particularly because the Department of Agriculture has Director Alessandri, who is the Director for Industrial Hemp. Director Alessandri has been very quick to be able to make updates and changes within this program. So if USDA will get their plan in place to the states, hopefully by the end of the calendar year, right after the beginning of the year, I would hope then that would give enough time for the Department of Agriculture to make any potential changes for the next growing season, with the same notion that we can continue with the present plan into the next growing season if need be.
Thank you, Vanessa.
If I may, Madam Chair, I just have to really applaud this committee and your leadership. Again, not to continue lifting up what's being done at the federal level, but this is an ask for the federal level. And Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is moving to insert language. They just had a hemp roundtable in Washington, and they will also be going before the Appropriations Committee on tomorrow. So this is moving, and so any actions this body is taking with respect to House Resolution 104, certainly it would be great if we could share that with the senator and all the members of the Federal Agriculture Committee, that Michigan is taking the lead, and your body understands that.
Thank you. Representative LaFave? You have follow-up?
Yeah, are any states getting the cross-pollination problem figured out, and what might they be doing to address it?
I don't have any insight into that.
In speaking with some of my colleagues in other states, nobody has a good solution to it. And so I think there's just more work to be done there.
Representative Johnson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hemp, is it considered a drug, and is it, okay, I don't shake your head, just answer it, because I want other people to hear. Is it considered a drug? That's one. And if it's not considered a drug, why are we even having this conversation?
So it's not, so let me just read the second whereas of the resolution on record. I don't like reading to people things that they already have, but I do understand you're asking for this for those who are watching. The resolution is urging the United States Department of Agriculture to recognize industrial hemp as a valuable agricultural commodity and take steps to remove barriers to the commercial production of this crop. And whereas industrial hemp is cultivated to produce fiber, grains, biomass, and non-intoxicating medical compounds such as cannabidol, I can never say that properly. Industrial hemp is genetically distinct from the drug varieties known as marijuana and includes only parts of varieties that contains the THC, as we talked about earlier. And so we're talking about this because it was removed from being a Schedule I drug. However, the adequate promulgation that needs to take place with respect to the U.S. Department of Agriculture has not been done. We believe that that is moving on track. Fall, hopefully by the end of this year. And we're calling and urging them to do this. We had this resolution in place before they started moving more aggressively. But again, because I serve on financial services and I and have done so for 3 terms, and I understand the impact on our banking institutions and our credit unions, that we want to allow for this expansion of an industry where Michigan can take the lead, being the second largest state in agriculture, but also the ability to feel, the banks to feel safe, and those who are in the industry feel safe with banking their finances properly.
I support this resolution, and I really hope that the United States take a lead, because if they don't, China might. Thank you.
And with that, I'll read in one card that was submitted. David Wortham, thank you, with the Michigan Bankers Association, not wishing to speak, but supporting the resolution. Thank you, David. At this point in time, I need a motion to report out House Resolution 104 with recommendation that it pass. Yes, I'm happy to entertain that question before I accept a motion.
Thank you. Just a quick question. Why is there background checks if the THC level is so low? Why are we gonna make hoops or, I came from law enforcement, so I understand background checks, but I also came from a farming background. I grow apples, but I don't need a background check. I'm just curious why, if the THC level is so low that it doesn't get people high, why are we requiring these farmers to go through an extra step?
Well, one thing about the regulation of both hemp and cannabis is that even although it's genetically different, visually sometimes it can be difficult to tell. A good analogy would be if I presented you with a decaf cup of coffee and a caffeinated cup of coffee, you would not be able to distinguish one from the other without some form of consumption. And it can get, there's a level of regulation associated with hemp, just to make sure that there's no crossover, that a person is not attempting to pass cannabis off
Right.
as hemp. You need a certificate of authenticity that shows it has less than 0.3% THC to distinguish one from the other, so that there are no euphoric effects to hemp.
Yeah, I understand, I just think it's a little bit unnecessary.
It's my understanding, where we need to make sure you have accurate information. It's our understanding that that is not in statute, and it's definitely not in this resolution.
Someone mentioned that.
When speaking about the programs.
Of the marijuana.
Right.
Okay.
So, this is going to definitely be the first of many conversations. As we move forward, we will continue to have to tweak, again, our Michigan legislation. When we look at this resolution, it's our first conversation, and I wanted to make sure everyone on this committee had the background information. And as the fine representative tries to, moves this through on the House floor. So at this point in time, a motion to report out House Resolution 104 with recommendation that it pass. Excellent. Representative Elder, Vice Chair Elder, makes that motion. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Chair Alexander.
Yes.
Representatives Meerman.
Yes.
LaFave.
Yes.
Eisen.
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes.
Munzel. Yes. Elder.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Garza.
Yes.
Johnson.
Absolutely, yes.
Whitworth.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 11 yeas, no nays, no pass.
Thank you. Are there any other items to bring before the committee? And we have no absent members. There being no further business before the committee will stand adjourned. Thank you.